Aisha, the Goldman Sachs 1 Million Black Woman Initiative is something that you have gotten involved in. Tell me what you're doing with it.
We are so excited to be one of the inaugural partners of the 1 Million Black Women Initiative. In that partnership, we have helped to both amplify the mission as well as receive feedback from our community of Black women entrepreneurs by hosting several listening sessions across the country, both in person and virtually, which allowed us to gain information on what women of color entrepreneurs needed, take that back to Goldman Sachs so they could better formulate the program and develop services.
You've spoken with thousands of women. This initiative has spoken to thousands of women. What are you hearing from these entrepreneurs? What do they need right now? What is still lacking?
Support. Women of color entrepreneurs need support, and they need that by way of access to capital resources to help them learn, grow, and scale, training to give them the skills and tools that they need to successfully start, grow, and scale their businesses.
How would you describe the progress in getting that support? We've spoken in the past, and it's about a year ago. So are we closer to reaching some of these goals? And if not, why?
Absolutely. Goldman has been phenomenal in not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. And they are actually putting programs and opportunities in place that provide resource and access to women of color, both entrepreneurs and in other segments. And so I'm really, really proud that they've already announced their initial round of funding and most recently, at the top of this year, announced a second set of programs and funding that were being made available to organizations and communities around this country. And so we are getting closer. We have a long way to go, but Goldman is leading the path in providing these types of opportunities that are so critical for Black women to succeed and excel in their various areas of expertise.
One thing we've seen really through the pandemic is women quitting their jobs in very large numbers. Are you hearing stories anecdotally or seeing yourself that some women of color are using leaving the workforce as an opportunity to pursue entrepreneurship?
Throughout the course of the pandemic, the number of businesses has quadrupled. We're seeing more and more small businesses started because women realize the need to have flexibility, to be able to be home with their children or families, to be able to control their destinies and leave a legacy for their communities and their families.
So it sounds like even though there's some progress being made, there are still some hurdles, but those hurdles aren't really discouraging women of color.
You know, it's hard to discourage a woman of color. We have already overcome so much throughout our history and even in this present day. And so while we are faced with many challenges, we always find a way to turn those challenges into opportunities, to find a way to make it happen. And it's always great when we don't have to do that alone, when we have the support of organizations like Goldman who are willing to take that journey with us.
And you certainly are helping a lot of women take those steps. So Aisha, thank you so much for spending time with me. It's good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for watching. For more clips and episodes of NJ Business Beat, subscribe to the NJ Spotlight News YouTube channel.
What's going on, everybody? Safar Sadek here. Man, I had a conversation with Gadol Ott as well as Malavianda Ott yesterday, being the 16th of December. Today is the 17th at the time of this recording. December 17th, 2022, or so they would have us believe. And I had already put this lesson together after having a conversation with Gadol Ott. But then Malavian called me and put me on to what I just showed you all before I came on here, which I had no clue. And when he put me on to that, I was like, you know what? That was like the final piece of the puzzle. I said, now all this shit makes perfect sense. So I'm going to put all this together for you like how I do and everything and show y'all why these nigga bitches at this particular time are at such a high level of pride and everything because of this bullshit right here. Now, what they didn't tell you in that presentation, which I'm about to show you here, is that now this initiative kicked off in March of 2021. See, they didn't make that plain in the presentation, but I'm making it plain because I went and looked it up. That was a year and 9 months and some change ago. Just 3 months shy of 2 years ago when they did this shit. Right at the height of the so-called vaccine bullshit. And so I want you all to look at something right here. Goldman Sachs invested $10 billion to prop up 100 million nigger bitches. If you do the math on that, 10 billion divided by 100 million, that's only $10,000 per B-dub. In this economic environment, that ain't shit. I mean, I'm just saying, that ain't shit. And so these bitches, when this was done, oh man, that's when past this point, all of a sudden you start seeing all this rhetoric and shit on social media about musty, dusty, rusty, crusty, and that's when this rhetoric about I gotta have a man that's making 6 figures, and you know, and I was like, where the fuck is all this shit coming from? And all of them going on these dating shows like Kendra G and all this other bullshit talking about, you know, a man gotta make more than her. I got my own business and company and this, that, and the other. I'm like, nigga bitches have been groomed to be consumers, not investors, not business owners, and not leaders of corporations. They can't even lead the black community. Okay? So how the hell you gonna invest this type of money and initiative into this motherfucker of all people? Well, you'll understand by the end of this lesson if you hadn't already figured it out. But I just wanted y'all to know that they want everybody to think that, oh man, this is the best thing since sliced bread. $10 billion divided by 100 million nigger bitches, all in the name of philanthropy, which is bullshit, comes out to $10,000 per nigger bitch. You'd have been better off getting a PPP loan, to be honest with you, because some of them started a business doing that and got paid. I know a bitch personally. I mean, you know, not in person, but I'm aware of a motherfucker that got 2 of these goddamn loans. And I'm sure there's probably some out there that got more than that. You'd have been better off doing that. But, I mean, you know, look who we talking about. Consider the source. Let's go into a few precepts, and then I'm going to show you an article that Godot Ott sent, posted up on the Inner Circle chat yesterday. I'm going to put all this shit together, man. Let's look at Luke 22:25. And he said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and they that exercise authority upon them are called benefactors. Well, they call it philanthropy. Same shit. It's all bullshit. Okay? All right. Let's look at Isaiah chapter 30, verses 1 through 3 in this context. Woe to the rebellious children, especially these nigger bitches, saith Ahiah, that take counsel, but not of me. And how would they take counsel of Ahiah? Through righteous men within, you know, the so-called black community. They don't want to hear shit we got to say, because everything we're telling them is coming from Ahiah. They don't want to hear shit he got to say, which is why their ears are always open to somebody else's tickling their fantasies and this and that and the other. That's why they keep running amok all the time. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the higher, that take counsel, but not of me, that cover and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit. That they may add sin to sin. So any bitch that did that shit right there, yeah, you fall into this category. That walk to go down into Egypt, Babylon, America, and have not asked in my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh. Then turn around and say, I don't need no man. You need Pharaoh. Quit lying. And just say what it is. I don't need an authoritative masculine black man. Y'all need to learn how to say what it really is. All right? And to trust in the shadow of Egypt. This place is a shadow of its former self. These days, that Make America Great shit, this motherfucker is down for the count. It's a shadow of its former self, but these dumb bitches trust in that. Okay? Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. That's what you got coming. Eventually, you're going to have to face the music, like it or not. Let's look at Deuteronomy 8:17. And thou say in thine heart, my power and the might of mine hand hath got me this wealth. That's Deuteronomy 8:17. That's with this rhetoric all circulating around social media and this and that and the other. I'm strong and independent. I don't need no man and musty, dusty, rusty, crusty, and motherfucker gotta make 6 figures and this and that. Are you making these? For the most part, no. There may be a hand-picked few of them that are doing that shit, but these are your real token sellouts. They done, ate some human flesh and drank some human blood. They're all the way in there, but that was just a very small minority out of this group. The rest of them bitches are broker now than they were when they started this shit. Trust me, they are. Let's look at Revelation 3:17. See, all I gotta do is go into the scriptures and call y'all's bullshit out. That's all I gotta do. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increase with goods and have need of nothing, especially an authoritative black masculine man. Okay? And knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. Revelation 3:17. I ain't got to make this shit up. And see, a lot of them, I saw some videos while I was researching this yesterday, and they so haughty, so proud when they started doing this shit. Yeah, and them niggas is mad. They mad because they did this for us. No, we're not. Like I said, I just found out about this yesterday. That just goes to show you the black man ain't trying to keep up with what y'all doing. Don't give a fuck. Hell, a lot of them just started getting passports and getting up out of it. Now the whole world knows who's mad about that. See, it's something you got to understand about these retarded ass nigga bitches. They use this fucked up form of reverse psychology. I call it shame it if you can't claim it. Anything that they can't obtain or get their fucking grimy hands on, they're shaming. That's what they do. And that's all you're seeing on these TikTok videos and this, that, and the other. Anything that they can't have, they shame it because they feel like the world is theirs and anything they want, they should be able to have it whenever they want it. That's just how inflated their egos have, been puffed up to be. But as it's written in the scriptures, pride goeth before destruction. So there's that. All right, here's the article that Godot put up yesterday. Now, remember, this initiative started over a year and 9 months ago. This article here by Insider came out yesterday. It's important that you know the spans of time between, that shit and this right here. Black women are worn out from discrimination in corporate America. Oh. They're leaving to launch their own businesses, creating a hole for talent across industries. This is some bullshit. This is cap right here, man. And they left some talking points right here, at which I'm gonna, do some commentary on it. Then we're really gonna get into this shit. Insiders spoke with black women who left white collar roles to start businesses. You needed Goldman and Sachs to give you $10,000 and then have them coach you on what to do with that $10,000, which most of you wasted that money and everything. So how the hell you propose that you're gonna go out and start your own business? Where you gonna get the capital from? Goldman Sachs ain't fitting to give y'all no more money. Nobody else is. That was an experiment. So first of all, where you gonna get the capital from? And second of all, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but we're talking about the delusion of nigger bitch, all right? Let's look at these 3 bullet points right here. Black women are being pushed out of corporate America by microaggressions, belittling, and burnout. Say it ain't so. Some of them are starting businesses and building teams of their own. Interesting. Their departures are likely to hurt innovation and profits in corporate America. I don't believe that shit. Corporate America was wealthy before they ever let these motherfuckers get entry into it. What the hell could they possibly bring to the table? They can't even bring shit to the table of a man in a proposal of a marriage. What the fuck they gonna bring to the table to corporate America? Come on, people, man. Y'all gotta teach yourselves how to see through cat bullshit. Now, what was the purpose for Goldman Sachs and them doing this in the first place? Well, we're gonna go back and look at this, and I'm gonna take a break, come back. We're gonna go into those bullet points. Why did Goldman Sachs do that? Well, you gotta look at the timing of when it happened. March of 2021. At that time, so many people were out of work and at home online more so than ever before. And as they were online and not able to go to these bullshit churches and all that other shit for the most part, they started searching for truth that they weren't getting in these churches anyway. And then they started getting exposed to the gospel that we preach and teach. And a lot of people started, supporting that gospel to the point where they started abandoning these European white supremacists, Catholic and Christian institutions and all that other dumb shit that goes along with it. This caught the attention of, the Amalekites that run this world. And wait a minute, we can't have this. This is like another civil rights movement in the making. We got to do something about this, or this shit's going to become a threat to national security. We cannot allow this to go on and on and on. And it was like, okay, well, we're in a pandemic right now. Everybody's at home and this, that, and other and shit. Well, at this time, motherfuckers were starting to come back out and, go back into society and everything. But nonetheless, they were still terrified about this shit. It was like, we got to do something about this or we're going to lose momentum. So they was like, well, let's do what we've always done in situations like this. A tried and true method. This is an excerpt from the Willie Lynch letter because they, once again, Willie lynched these nigger bitches with that initiative. The breaking process of the African woman. It should be Israelite woman because we're not African. Take the female and run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly. Test her in every way because why? She is the most important factor for good economics. In other words, she'll make the best consumer ever. So this thing about giving them money to start businesses and everything, it's all bullshit. That's not the intended purpose of them doing that, this is. If she shows any sign of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract that last bit of bitch out of her. Take care not to kill her, for in doing so, you spoil good economics. When in complete submission, she will train her offsprings in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age. Understanding is the best thing. So that initiative that popped off over a year and 9 months ago was just being done all over again, because like I said, when more and more people started getting exposed to the gospel, they was like, man, and being propagated by us, authoritative, masculine, black, oh no, we got to stop that. What we're going to do is what we did during the civil rights era. We're going to get these nigger bitches, recruit her again and everything. So, because we know how haughty and high-minded and proud these motherfuckers are, and all we got to do is just whisper, sweet nothings in our ear. Man, the black community will be in shambles within a few months or sooner. And they were right. It wasn't nothing but a recruitment tool to get the nigger bitch to once again cause further destruction to the black community than what she's already done. That's all that was. But it's actually deeper than that. I'm going to take a break right here and I'm going to come back and we're going to get into these bullet points, then we're going to have some fun. All right, let's look at this first bullet point. Black women are being pushed out of corporate America by microaggressions, belittling, and burnout. So what is Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and y'all's beloved Democratic Party doing in your defense? Better yet, where's Black Lives Matter when you really need them? Or how about your goon squad, Pookie and Ray Ray? This sounds like a real good reasons to send these brain dead buffoons on shoot 'em up missions. Yet sadly, the average ordinary black man has abandoned y'all for greener pastures, or is pursuing his own happiness and peace of mind without you. And that's what's got these bitches in the uproar. See, they don't like being left out of shit because they have been groomed to believe that they are the center of the universe. So anything that purports to exclude them triggers them. It's an attack on their ego. Indirectly, but I mean, that's just how fucked up they are. All right, let's look at the next bullet point. Some are starting businesses and building teams of their own. It's truly amazing how the economy in this society is definitely down for the count, yet everyone has somehow figured out how to start businesses. Scamming, OnlyFans, home title fraud, GoFundMe, social media content creation, just to name a few, are nowadays considered businesses. Well, here's some financial advice that you might want to consider. Check this out.
The IRS wants every last penny from you, and they are warning taxpayers of the new $600 threshold for apps such as PayPal and Venmo. What does this mean? And more importantly, what does this mean for you? So the IRS is going after the little guy, anyone making money through a part-time job, a side gig, or even selling tickets to a Taylor Swift concert, or even selling an old pair of Jordans. They want every last penny. So if someone receives more than $600 through an app such as Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo through these transactions, they'll have to file a 1099-K. And here's the crazy part. Prior to this year, the threshold for a 1099-K was at least 200 transactions and $20,000. But following the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, the threshold has been lowered to just one transaction and $600. And I hate these names they make up. The American Rescue Plan Act. This is not saving anyone. This is only harming everyday Americans. And the IRS stated this is for business type transactions. It is not for personal transactions. So if someone receives money for their birthday, or maybe someone went out to dinner and their friends sent them money in return, these are not supposed to be taxed. But it can get very complicated because how will the IRS or these apps know exactly what is personal and what is a business type transaction? And the challenge with the new lower threshold amount of $600 for Form 1099-K is that personal payments and reimbursements could be incorrectly reported as taxable transactions. So if you use these apps such as Cash App, PayPal, or Venmo just for personal transactions and you receive more than $600, it is very possible that you will still receive this Form 1099-K. And when you receive this form, a copy will also be sent to the IRS. So if you do receive this form, don't ignore it. The IRS has a copy. So if it really is through business type transactions, then you'll have to pay taxes. But if it's really just for personal expenses, at the very least, you'll have to clear this up with the IRS. And that's where these accountants will come into play. I see two people really making money from this. Number one, of course, the IRS, and number two, accountants, because this is going to be really complicated and very messy. But that's exactly how it's supposed to be by design. Could you imagine if every American understood the tax code in and out? If that were the case, the IRS would never receive any money. Those with a lot of money, the whales, they have accountants that know the tax code in and out. This won't affect them at all. The only person this will affect is the small time everyday citizen. And I want to show you how complicated it can get. So if someone is actually running a small business and they're using these apps for payments, then fine, that makes sense. Pay taxes on it. But what about someone who sells something actually for a loss? For example, let's say someone has a garage sale and they sell a couch or a bed and they paid actually $3,000 for that couch. And then at the garage sale, they sold it for $1,000. They actually lost $2,000. But if they receive that $1,000 in a Cash App or PayPal or Venmo, the IRS and the app will look at it as if they made $1,000. Then the IRS will go after that taxpayer and say, you owe taxes on this $1,000. But what if the taxpayer comes out and says, actually, that was a loss. I paid $3,000 for that couch and now I sold it for $1,000. Are you going to give me the tax write-off? So the IRS is going to go after people making money, but will they also give us the other side of the equation? If they're going to treat the little guy like a business, well, give them those tax write-offs as well. But I don't think the IRS will do that because that will backfire and they'll probably end up losing a lot of money. So if the IRS wants to come after our small-time gains, well, let's play the other side and defend ourselves. And if we have a tax write-off, we'll let the IRS know. That is one way we can fight against the IRS. And there are also big players in the space that are fighting against the IRS. For example, Etsy and eBay have formed the Coalition for 1099-K Fairness in order to, quote, protect casual online sellers and micro businesses from unfair tax and privacy burdens. And let me repeat that again. Online casual users and micro businesses, maybe not even micro businesses. That is how small these transactions are. They want to go after everyday people who are not actually running real businesses and treat them like a business. But at the same time, they probably won't give the advantages of having a business, including those tax write-offs. And Zelle claims they are able to circumvent this IRS tax rule, and they stated, quote, Zelle facilitates messaging between financial institutions, but does not hold accounts or handle settlement of funds. So according to this technical loophole, Zelle claims this rule does not apply to them, but I don't see this happening, right? The IRS, they're paying attention. Either two things will happen. They will extend this law to Zelle, or at the very least, they will go after users who migrate to Zelle to try to get away from taxes, and they will audit those individuals. This American Rescue Plan Act is not saving anyone. The big guys who already have their businesses set up, legitimate businesses, nothing will change. The only thing will change is that your everyday average citizen will be taxed on goods that should not be taxed. Again, selling tickets to a concert or selling your old couch. This is crazy, but I want to know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.
As far as building teams go, black women are too competitive to actually be successful at group dynamics. All right. Let's look at the third bullet point. Their departures are likely to hurt innovation and profits in corporate America. In all actuality, their departures are being celebrated as a sigh of relief. The only innovations that will suffer are the weave industry, cosmetics, tuition assistance, real estate, public utilities, daycare, etc. The only profits to be affected by this mass exodus are those of these fledgling businesses. This next phase of corporate downsizing was strategically engineered in order to sever an age-old love-hate relationship that no longer serves the common good of capitalism. In conclusion, it's time to face the music. All right, now let's have some fun. Let's look at Luke chapter 16, verses 10 through 12 and get us started. She that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. And he or she that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much. If therefore you have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? Nobody. And if you have not been faithful in that which is another man's, who shall give you that which is your own? Nobody. That's Luke chapter 16, verses 10 through 12. See, it really helps to have a righteous, masculine, authoritative Israelite man that can really go into these scriptures and break this stuff down, line upon line, precept upon precept, so you don't fall for this type of shit. You bitches couldn't be faithful with the leadership that was given you within the black community. How the hell are you going to be a leader of a company or business or a corporation? You're not going to kick against the pricks. You're not going to buck scripture. I don't give a shit how hard you try. I don't care what that white man tell you or whoever. Fuck him. You're not going to buck against these scriptures. These scriptures are sound and solid. All right? The only thing you're going to do is, whatever the scriptures are talking about, that's what you're going to be. Trying to do anything else is just going to make sure that that's what you're going to be, whatever is being talked about. You can't get out of it. So all this bullshit, we're going to do this and we're going to leave the corporate world and start this. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later as I get down into the lesson and try not to get ahead of myself. Let's look at Ecclesiasticus 14:7. I don't know how many times I done read this precept. And if he, in this context, Goldman Sachs, doeth good, or at least seem to do good, because that's what it's about. He doeth it unwillingly. And at the last, he will declare his wickedness. What I just showed you there, that's part of it. That's part of it. Because that little bit of money that they gave you is taxable, in case they didn't tell you that. 2023 gonna be a hell of a year, especially in terms of the IRS collecting taxes on y'all's asses. Man, that's why I'm glad I don't work. Fuck that, I ain't gotta worry about that shit. All right, let's move on. Here we go with this dumb shit. Let's look at Ecclesiasticus chapter 20, verses 14 through 15. The gift of a fool shall do thee no good when thou hast it, neither yet of the envious for his necessity. For he looketh to receive many things for one. So you thought that was all it was to it. They're going to give you $10,000 and let you go out and start your own business. Just like that. But y'all the most educated in the population though. I like to hear you brag about this shit all the time. But you fell for this bullshit. Verse 15, he giveth little, and he damn sure didn't give y'all but a little bit, considering. And upbraided or criticized much. Man, I bet you that the motherfuckers has been on y'all's ass ever since they gave y'all that money. They're not going to report on that though. Well, we don't have to see a report on that. All we got to do is look at the scriptures. He opened his mouth like a crier, like a crybaby. Today he lendeth. I'm going to talk about that when I get done with this. And tomorrow will he ask it again. Uh-oh. Such a one is to be hated of a higher and man. Or in this case, woman. But y'all ain't got good sense. And that's Ecclesiastes chapter 20, verses 14 through 15. So, this initiative purported to give 100 million black women $10,000. No, it was a loan, dumbass. Just like I said earlier, you'd have been better off getting a PPP loan because that man want that money. What did it say? Today he lendeth. It was a loan. And tomorrow will he ask it again. Why do you think they get them IRS agents ready for y'all's dumb asses? Fucking stupid as hell to be so goddamn educated though and love to talk down. Let me ask you this while I'm thinking about it. Y'all claim to be so fucking educated, so smart, and you're gonna leave corporate America and start your own business with all this education and everything that you presumably learned from corporate America. How is it that none of you all have figured out how to pay back that student loan or any of these other loans? That would be a damn good business right there if you could pull it off legitimately. I'm just saying. Let me go on, man. Now, we're going to go to 2nd Ezra chapter 16, and we're going to start at verse 41. I'll give you the precepts when we get to the bottom. So, that money given to these bitches, this is how it's going to be right here, man. Like I said, all you got to do is just know how to go into the scriptures, and you can, like looking at a crystal ball, you can already see what's going to happen before it happens. Motherfuckers be like, how the hell do you know this shit? All right, it's in the word, but because you go into these good times Jesus churches and being fleeced by these false prophets, that's why you don't know shit. She that selleth, let her be as she that fleeth away. And she that buyeth is one that will lose. So, and Goldman Sachs knew this in advance. Too bad you didn't know in advance. Verse 42, she that occupieth merchandise as she that hath no profit by it, and she that buildeth as she that shall not dwell therein. Let me ask y'all a question. How is it that this motherfucker is going down in flames economically and otherwise, yet you somehow are gonna magically come up, you're gonna be that boss bitch that come up with some type of business or whatever that's going to, you know, counteract this right here? Well, you're still gonna have to rely on Amazon in some way, Etsy, eBay, Walmart, what have you. You're still gonna have to rely on railway transport in some capacity, truck transfer in some capacity, USPS Postal Service, UPS, FedEx, and all these other forms of shipment. You're still gonna have to get products from the same companies that all these other major Fortune 500 corporations get their shit from and are experiencing astronomical shortages. So how is it that you're going to start a business and succeed when they are all failing. And I hear this shit when you go on the internet. You got motherfuckers on there talking about, yeah, you know, this is get ready to happen, and you know, this is going on with the economy and blah blah this. But if you buy my course, I'll show you how to, you know, produce multiple streams of income. You got to rely on the same infrastructure that's failing for these Fortune 500 corporations and companies. You're full of shit. Plain and simple. All I gotta do is look at this right here. I don't give a fuck what you're talking about, because you're full of shit. And these nigga bitches, more so. She that soweth as if she should not reap. So she that planteth the vineyard, as she that shall not gather the grapes. This is right here is a business plan for loss. This is the time. This is the season for any type of commerce. Look, this is where we are right now. As far as business and commerce and all this, this is it right here. We're in this time right now, in case you didn't know that. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 8 is breaking it down for you even more right here. See, there's a time to do this type of shit, and there's a time not to do this type of shit. And these motherfuckers waited until the time not to do this shit to pretend to help your ass, and you was stupid enough and fell for it. Verse 43, she that soweth as if she should not reap. So also she that planteth the vineyard, as she that shall not gather the grapes. They that marry, as they that shall get no children, and they that marry not as the widows. And some of these motherfuckers actually, you know, they doing so well now they want marriage. Now this is, you know, them hunting for the man that's 6 feet tall, 6 figures, 6 inches, 6-pack. As if you actually deserve that shit just because you got a little bit of money and had some limited success with your Mary Kay business or Avon or whatever the fuck bullshit, weave or whatever. Okay. 45. And therefore they that labor in vain. That's even people that's working right now. Only thing you're doing is just making it for one day to the next. There's no retirement. All that game is over with. No Social Security, none of that shit. It's over. So anything that you're doing now is just keeping a roof over your head right now and a little bit of food in your stomach right now. That's all what you're doing, because the American dream is over with, because America is over with, in case nobody told you that. Verse 46, for strangers shall reap their fruits and spoil their goods, overthrow their houses, and take their children's captives. For in captivity and famine shall they get children. I'm going to elaborate on this at the end of this lesson, this verse 46 right here. So everything you're doing, no matter what it is, no matter how successful it seems to be right now, you're not going to benefit from it. Verse 47, and they that occupy their merchandise with robbery, price gouging, which is what a lot of y'all doing right now because of the inflation, the more they deck their cities, their houses, their possessions, and their own persons, the more will I be angry with them for their sin, saith Ahiah. The 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verses 41 through 48. You're not getting around these scriptures and these prophecies. I don't give a fuck who you are or how much money you come in contact with. It's not going to happen, man. Now, let's look at Haggai chapter 1, verses 4 through 6 and verse 9. I'm going to take another break on what we just talked about. Is it time for you, O ye, to dwell in your sealed or luxurious houses? In this house, the black community lie waste. Now, therefore, thus saith the higher of hosts, consider your ways. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And she that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. So much for chasing the bag. And I got a video about that. This is the reality of what these so-called nigger bitches, business bitches, boss chicks and all that. This is the real reality right here that they will never come out and tell you. They're going to blame it on corporate America. The same corporate America that gave them that little bit of money to get them, to put them on. This is the reality of it right here. Everything I just shared with you. The real reality. Revelation 3:17 that I read earlier. But they're too proud to come out and say that. But motherfuckers can look at them and clearly see this. Okay? Ye looked for much, and lo, it came to little. And when ye brought it home, I did blow upon it. Why? Saith the higher of hosts, because of mine house, the black community that is waste, and ye run every woman into her own pursuits. And you think that you're going to prosper just because you go hand in hand with this white man. As if you haven't ever read history. And what makes it so bad about this shit, a lot of these bitches know the history and the treachery of this white man, but they still keep falling into this trap. It's a perpetual curse. Because they let current economic situations and loneliness and this and that, and they got all these excuses why they do this shit. Instead of just saying, you know what, I'm the fucking problem. They'll never come to that conclusion. Too much pride. And that's why they're going to be destroyed by this shit. All right, I'm going to take another break, come back, we're going to wind this down. All right, let's switch gears here. Let's look at 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 1 through 5. Know this also. Believe me, Goldman and Sachs and the rest of them definitely know this. That in the last days, perilous times shall come. For women, as well as men, but in this context, women shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of a higher, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. In 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 1 through 5. And you can go look at James chapter 4, verses 1 through 4 to help collaborate this. This is the foundation of all this rhetoric and bullshit that's going on social media within the black community. Here's the meat of it right here. Right here. And because of this, everything that was just read to you, including James 4, 1 and 4, is the reasons why these devils are able seamlessly to get these stupid ass nigger bitches to play the same game over and over and over again with insurmountable success. Right here. This is why. They'll never admit this though. They don't have to admit it. The scriptures will admit it for you. And on the day of judgment, all your works are going to admit this for you, so you don't have to. All you have to do is just make sure you fit this profile, which you do, which accounts for why you do what you do and don't do. All right, let's switch it up a little bit. Now, a lot of these stupid ass nigga bitches done did this shit, and there's a growing number of them. I don't know how, starting to experience some level of resentment as a result of having, committed such treachery and everything. And this is their contingency plan now, but it's not working. But I'm going to show it to you anyway. Let's look at Hosea chapter 2, verse 7. And she shall follow after her lovers all these worthless pursuits, but she shall not overtake them. And she shall seek them, but shall not find them. Then shall she say, I will go and return to my first husband, or in this context, the black community. For then was it better with me than now. And it's Hosea 2:7. So why did it take for you to leave outside the black community and commit these levels of treason to realize that the grass is not greener on the other side? Well, the only problem with that is you have no green grass to return to. That's the major problem. Because now what y'all got to consider is how will you be received in making an attempt to go back to the black community that you have destroyed for your own selfish, egotistical, diabolical fantasies and all this other shit. How are you going to be received? Will you be received back? That's the question that should be asked. Let's look at 2 Kings chapter 6 verses 25 through 27. Now, when I read this right here, this is where we're headed into, like a fucking freight train going downhill with no brakes on it. And this is going to lay the groundwork for how you bitches are going to be received back into the black community due to your treachery. And there was a great famine in Samaria. There's going to be a great famine here of every type. And behold, they besieged it until an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver and a fourth part of a cab of dove's shit for 5 pieces of silver. I've done this many times in the past. Just look at the current price of gold and silver or whatever, and then the first one multiply by 80 and the last one by 5, and you'll see in today's currency how much that shit would have been. A goddamn donkey's head. Now, that's a hell of a famine to where a motherfucker would consider eating some shit like that. And dove shit, they were actually selling that shit. Boy, we got some hard times coming. And this is when you choose to bring your dumb ass back to, to the black community after having destroyed it. With this looming just ahead, too much education. And as the king or the Eli's of Israel was passing by upon the wall, because at this time, go read the end of Isaiah chapter 3. Now it talks about the young and the mighty man being destroyed, and then I've covered was it 2nd Ezra, see the 15 and 16. We're talking about how the brides and the virgins, the young men were being destroyed. Only the Eli's are going to be around at this time, just passing by like ain't nothing going on as far as they're concerned. And that, let me go here, man. And as the king or the Eli's of Israel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, we got a strong and independent boss chick crying. I wonder why. There cried a woman unto him saying, help, my lord, O king. Now they're going to want to be cordial. I'm going to be like, king, I'm going to be like, king, who the fuck are you talking to? I'm expecting dusty, musty, rusty, crusty and all that, and niggas ain't shit, and, you know, y'all broke and this and that. Fucker, who are you talking to? I'm going to be an asshole during these times. You best believe it. Hell, I'm an asshole now. I'm sharpening my skills up, 'cause I'm fit to get it in. Verse 27. And he said, if Ahiah or Esau do not help thee, whence shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor or out of the wine press? Hey, if Ahiah ain't helping you, and if Goldman and Sachs ain't helping you, or George Soros or Joe Biden or any of these motherfuckers, if they not helping you, what you want me to do? See, y'all didn't want to listen to this. Y'all was too strong and independent. You didn't need us. Well, the problem with that is that's an everlasting judgment. Once you take that on, it's permanent. You can never repent from that. You're going to be strong and independent, even into the afterlife, because you'll always have that mindset, and you're just trying to get out of the situation that you find yourself in now until you feel like a better deal comes by, and then you start no, not at my expense, you ain't. It's just more economical for me to just leave your ass here. See, these are going to be them Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1 bitches in this situation right here. That's who these are. See, nobody ever made that connection for you. So the bitch in 2 Kings chapter 6, verses 26 and 27 is the Isaiah 4:1 bitches. So you can fuck with them if you want to. Knock yourself out. I'm almost done. Let's look at Ezekiel chapter 23, verses 28 through 30. So when this shit really start popping, we really are in the heat of Scene 85 that you always hear me talk about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the video I did, Scene 85, and you know what I'm talking about. But when this motherfucker is really the book of Eli, and we're 2023, I believe it's gonna be, and all this shit gonna happen, man. It can't keep going the way it's going. At this pace, 2023 gonna be hell. If you thought 2020 was hell, that was a beta test. 2023 gonna be fucking hell. Okay? And when it gets like that and everything, and we get to this point right here, check this out right here for you so-called boss chicks, nigga bitches and shit that, you know, that failed at this bullshit that we've been talking about, failed miserably, and try to make your way back into the black community or reaching out for help or whatever the case may be. It don't matter what your contingency plan is or your plan of survival, whatever. This is how it's going to be right here. For thus saith the higher, behold, I will deliver thee into the hand of them whom thou hatest. Us. No matter what you do. Go back and read 2 Kings 6:25 through 27. Circumstances are going to put you in that situation, whether you want to be there or not. Into the hand of them from whom thy mind is alienated. That's what this shit did to y'all. Just like it did coming out of the civil rights era. Just like it did when they first brought us over here. That Willie lynching, the purpose of it is to alienate your mind from your man. No other race of women are going through this shit like y'all. So there must be something really special about us for them to keep doing this shit to us. And y'all keep willingly playing the same game. You don't learn from history. And therefore you are doomed to keep playing the same game over and over and over again, only to get to the worst time in recorded human history, and this be your contingency plan. The very motherfuckers that you've been striving and fighting against, that's who you're going to get delivered to. White man going to be pushed out of the way. He going to be having too many problems of his own. He ain't going to have time to fuck with you no more. You're going to be on your own. Verse 29, and they shall deal with thee lawfully. So all this bullshit, you hate your mama and you hate black women, we're supposed to. We have every reason to hate you, prophetically. Okay? Whether you like it or not. We don't care if you don't like it. This is the word. And shall take away all thy labor, and shall leave thee naked and bare. And the nakedness of thy whoredoms shall be discovered. So all this whoring and shit that y'all love doing, because you got too much fucking time on your hands and shit, all that's going to be discovered. Both thy lewdness and thy whoredoms. Remember I told y'all earlier, and all that shit that y'all was going to be doing, other motherfuckers was going to be reaping the benefits of it. There you have it. Isaiah 4:1, bitches. Go read Isaiah 4:1. That's this right here. But y'all so fucking educated. You're so smart. You got it all figured out. You ain't got this figured out. I promise you don't, because you don't even want to hear it now. So you're going to experience it then. I will do these things unto thee, because thou hast gone a whoring after the heathen, and because thou art polluted with their idols. That's Ezekiel chapter 23, verses 28 through 30. Serves your ass right. That's it. It's time to face the music, baby.